I'm going to show you two little tricks that will make your life much easier when you're working with your server. One is creating a friendly short name for your server so you don't have to remember the IP address. And the second is to bypass the need to enter a password every time you log into the server. So let's start with number one, creating a friendly name for your IP address of your host. First, you need to launch the command prompt as an administrator. The way you do that in Windows is you click on Start, and then you put in CMD and you click on Run as Administrator. So I have a window that's already loaded with the raised or elevated privileges, and now you want to open your hosts file using Notepad. Because we're running it from an elevated privilege command line, Notepad will run with administrator privileges, which is what you need to overwrite a system file. So Notepad, Windows System32, drivers, etc., hosts. Now you will have a file that looks something like this, and all you're going to need to do is put in the IP address for your server. So for mine it's 45.56.110.116 space, and give it a short name. Let's call it a dev. Now press Ctrl S to save and close it. Now if I ping dev, it already translates dev into the right IP address. So I can do SSH to tdogan@dev, and now I'm connected to my server. Now notice that I had to put in my password, so that's going to be the next thing we're going to do. In case you are running on a Mac, you'll have to do a search for modifying your hosts file on the Mac, and we'll move over to the password bypass. So it's not really a bypass. I'm going to log out of my server that I'm connected to, clear my screen. What we're going to do is add a key, an SSH key, and what we're creating is a private public key set. The private key is your secret. You never share it, and you store it safely. The public key is what you will copy to the server in order to give you access to the server. So it's really simple. All you need to do is SSH-keygen, and that's going to start the creation of a keygen. Notice that it's going to, by default, store it in a subfolder called .ssh under your user profile, which is where you launch your command CMD, your command prompt anyway. So I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to press enter for a password because I don't want to have to enter a password, and that's it. Now if you cd into .ssh, cd, I have to go back to my home directory. So I'm going to go to users, and my home directory. That's it. Now I'm in the right place. Into SSH. Let's see. Now you can see that I have two files, IDRSA and IDRSA pub. IDRSA is my private key. IDRSA pub is my public key. So I'm going to type the contents of the file IDRSA pub. And this is the key that we want to copy over to the server. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to copy, Control C, and now let's remote into my server. So SSH tdogan@dev, and put in my password for the last time. Now I'm going to look at my home directory, and the home directory, if you do an lsal, should create a folder called SSH. If you don't have an SSH folder, then you're going to just do mkdir .ssh. So go into SSH. Let's see what is in there. I have an authorized key file. If you don't have one, that's okay. In any case, you're going to type nano authorized keys. It will create a new one if you don't have one. I already have an old key that I'm going to delete, Control K, and I'm going to paste the new key. So there you go. Now this key ends with a username. This happens to be the username that I logged in to my home desktop. That's not going to be how you will log into your remote server. So what you will do instead is tdagan@dev, or your username at the shortcut that you used. If you haven't created a shortcut in your host file, then you'll enter it the way that you are logging in. So it's probably your IP, 106. I'm gonna keep it this way, and then I'll show you how to use it with the shortcut. So now I can save, Control S, and then exit, Control X, and I will log out, and I will try to log in back again into my server. So I'm going to log in the way that I created the key, which was SSH tdagan at 45.56.110.116. This would be your IP and your username, and boom, I'm logged in. Now, if I try to SSH using that shortcut IP address, it will work as well, because that is that's translated to the IP you're connected to. Now, let's do the same thing. Let's look at what this does to our use of the Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to drag in Visual Studio so you can see. And there is no new setting. All I need to do is connect to the server. So here is my connection, and notice that I was not prompted for a username password. Boom, I'm logged in. All right, hope you enjoy.